Just 1 second. I'm not sure if I turn on. Okay. No problem. So then we continue. Okay, so we continue with Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. And our big topic is laws of the business transaction. Okay. Halacha number 10, sorry. Halacha number 10. And it says, one must measure in a manner consistent with the practice of the country in which the transaction is taking place, and not to deviate at all. This means that in a place where a common practice is to heap the contents above the top of the measure, one should not level its contents. He may not do so even if he wish, if the wish of the buyer that the measure will be level, as the buyer will give seller less money that would otherwise pay since the measure is not heaped. So let's stop here and try to understand. So last time we were talking about this just measure, right? And now we say like, okay, the measure just, but what we do if the custom of this, he said country, but I think it's a region, right? It could be several regions in a country. Like somebody told me, like, no, I'm from the north of that country. I'm not going to say what kind. So wow, okay, I didn't know, but looks like in that country, the south and the north, it's like two polar opposite. They hate each other. Ethnically they're very, very different. Okay, so I mean, I had no idea. I mean, okay, but okay, so it's very interesting, right? So if the customs are different, so you follow the local customs. So one more time, one must measure in a manner consistent with the practice of the country in which the transaction is taking place, and not deviate at all. So we got that. So wherever they do, you do. If it's not against Jewish law, right? No problem. This measure, this means that the place where a common practice to heap the contents above the top of the measure, one should not level its contents. So I think maybe like a beans, right? So you have some container and you have it with a heap. So of course, like when you sell it, I guess these things you don't sell by weight, you sell by volume. So volume, I don't know, whatever this container, let's say whatever the measurement is. So and since it's normal and it's like a custom to sell it with a heap, you sell it with a heap. You don't level it down. And you said, no, I'm going to level down and charge you a little less. I don't know, like 5% less, whatever percent less. Not allowed. Very interesting. So one more time. This means that in a place where common practice to heap the contents above the top of the measure, one should not level its contents. So again, so it's clearly we see that we don't sell by weight. If you sell by weight, it doesn't matter. Like anyway, they're going to pay if it's going to be with a heap, they're going to pay more. If it's going to be without heap or like 3/4 of the measure, so that's they're going to pay less. There is no problem with that, right? Here for sure we're talking about volume. Okay. This means that in a place where common practice to heap the contents above the top of the measure, one should not level the contents. He should not do this even if the wish of the buyer that the measure will be level. Okay, right? As the buyer will give the seller less money than he would otherwise pay, since the measure is not heaped. So It does not say here why, but I remember learning this law, and it says because it's going to confuse the market. So the guy is going to come and say, yeah, oh, you bought these beans, how much you pay? 12? Psh, I paid 10. I paid 10. Yeah, but he did not say that this guy paid 12 and it was like over the top, and this guy paid 10 and it was like flat, right? So that's a huge difference. So they say don't do that. Similarly, in place of a common to practice is to level the contents with the top of the measure. One may not heap the contents above the measure. So again, right, not to confuse the public. So if he wants extra, sell him measure, exactly level measure, and give him some extra, like for extra money. There is no problem. Okay. This too should not be done, even if he wishes of the seller, as the buyer is adding money to the amount that he would pay otherwise. So it's not again. It's not for free. Nobody is cheating anybody here. So he would in the first case he would sell without like this heap. It's going to be less money. Here is the practice is to sell like leveled, and he adds the heap. He charges more money. So it's not like some no is the buyer does not understand what's going on. Yeah, he does understand. In first case he wants to pay less, and in second case here he wants to pay a little more. There is no problem, right? There is no problem, but there is a problem. We don't do it. Although simply not follow the common practice does not constitute cheating. Exactly, because everybody knows what's going on. It is nevertheless prohibited, for the Torah was stringent in regard to this distortion of the measures. So in some sense, this distortion of the measures, right? Because that's not what people expect. Distortion of the measures, and require that one follow the common practice. Okay, lest it be otherwise result in a pitfall. Okay, so we got it. Right, that's how it starts. Right, like for example, I can give you example. Same product, they sell in different packages. Right, it's I don't know, like 12 ounces, like 24 ounces, 32, and then 20 ounces, and of course, I mean, if somebody can recalculate, especially today they have calculators, they can see what is better for me to buy, right? What is cheaper if you divide by ounces, right? But some people say no, it's much cheaper, right? And they buy smaller container because it's cheaper. And many times when you buy a smaller volume, you pay 3 times more. Not 3, but 2 times more sometimes. Simple, right? When you buy a big container, you pay less. But again, maybe yes, maybe no, right? Maybe they have some this 20 ounces is cheaper than 36. I mean, if you can convert to the volume to money, right? It's very interesting. So that's what Torah says don't do. Don't do, because even he knows, yeah, I am paying for a bottle of 20 ounces. He buys shampoo or a body wash or something, but because he thinks that it's better, but it's not. Right? So we don't do that. Okay. Pitfall. Why? Okay. So why? Well, what's the pitfall, right? Lest the other way result in a pitfall, right? So we honest. He understand for heap he pays more, for level he pays less. What's the problem? For the observer might see that they measure as they did, and would assume that this is the accepted practice for measuring a city, right? And in the future, the observer may measure this way in dealing with another person who is unaware of the common practice and inadvertently mislead him. Meaning, he said, how much are beans today? Yeah, it's this and this amount. And then everybody sells with a heap, but he saw this Jew sells like flat only to that specific customer. So he did not know that it was actually for cheaper price. So he would charge a price like as everybody else. That's of course a problem. Okay, very interesting. Continue. Any questions on what we said? We'll continue. Okay, no problem. So, straightforward. Continue. Number 11. The community leaders are obligated to appoint officers who shall circulate among the stores and ensure that all weights are measured and measures are accurate. Anyone with whom they found a measure lacking its full size or a weight lacking from the designated weight or a faulty scale, the community leaders are allowed to administer corporal punishment and to penalize him monetarily as they see fit. So, and we're not talking about Kitzur was not written, just to remind us, in the times of Gemara. Kitzur was written maybe 200 years or 300 years ago, 250, like something like that. Right? Not too far, not too long ago. Right? So one more time, the community leaders obligated to appoint officers. So that's here it says community leaders, but I learned that it's based in. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, let's say based in the community leaders. So they appoint officers, and these officers should go to the markets, to all of the stores, and check. Of course, they check Jews, the non-Jews who we don't get involved. We have enough problems, right? But with Jews, we check and make sure that it's actually obligation, right, of the base din, to make sure that they have appropriate scales and measures, right? Right. Anyone with whom there is found measure lacking a full size or a weight lacking from the designated weight, as we said before, or we did not say, sometimes they put it in a salt, like, and it would be rusty, stuff like that. Yeah, it looks correct, but I mean, visually it looks like a correct weight, but it's not. It weighs less, or it weighs more. All these tricks, right? So if it's lacking, right? So they can give him a corporal punishment. It means lashes. That's what I mean, corporal punishment. So they would lash a person in public, basically, right? And penalize him monetarily, right? So he has to pay penalty, whatever, and plus do teshuva. Otherwise, now they're going to watch him, right? If he's not going to change, they would not allow him to sell, basically. Okay. So as the last sentence says, as they see it fit. So they decided the law. So their obligation, it's a rabbinical obligation to ensure that that we fulfill the Torah commandments. So if they need to lash somebody, so they're going to lash somebody. That's very good, and especially in the olden days in all the European countries. I mean, in the East Europe, these Jews, non-Jews did not care. So in some sense, and the Jews had some kind of autonomy, right? So they could do some things. Okay. So number 12, it is prohibited for a person to retain the measure that lacks a full size in his house or in his store, even if he does not measure with it. And if he does retain the flawed measure, he violates the prohibition, as is stated in verse Dvarim 25, verses 13 and 14. And you shall not have in your pouch a weight and a weight, large one and small one. You shall not have in your house measure and measure, large one and small one. Okay, so before we continue, so let's try to understand this. So one more time, we're going to explain. It is prohibited for a person to retain a measure that lacks full size. So even though a person is not going to use it for any purpose, right? For like not allowed to have it. So he has to break it or fix it. One of the two, right? In his house or in his store. So again, even they're not going to use it for sale. I mean, to measure, right? And if he does retain the flow measure, so like passively, so this just to have this flood measure in weight or something in somebody's house, right? He violates the law, violates the prohibition, and it says, "You shall not have in your pouch weight and a weight." So not to cheat is one prohibition, but to have this in somebody's possession is different prohibition. A large one and a small one. So large one is what? Large one is to buy, right? And small one is to sell. Sorry. So that's what people used to have. I mean, crooks. I think they have it even today. I mean, with electronic weights, I think they still have. Maybe they use a magnet or something. I don't know. I don't know what they use, but they do. Small one. You shall not have in your house measure and measure, a large one and a small one. So commentary. As stated, the prohibition is only for the for using a flood measure, using flood measure and cheating others. But even if for retaining the flood measure in one's possession. So as we said before, right? It's not like only for cheating, but even if a person just had it, especially in the olden days, just to have anything was people were so poor just to have a plate or extra plate or a spoon or something. It was really person rich. Okay. So continue. It is even prohibited to make a flood measure into urine receptacle. Right, so commentary say even though it is unlikely that it's ever be used as a measure again, so urine receptacle, right? So nobody's going to use it for measure, but right for perhaps one who is unaware of the currency use, right? So somebody who is not aware that for what they're using, maybe they washed it or something, right? Would come to measure with it. So you have an uncle staying with you and he's doing business. And you all went to work, and he has to go to the market. And guess what? He saw measure. That's exactly what I need. He did not know that children use it for, right? So he would wash it and take it to the market. This flood measure, right? However, if there is a practice within the city that one measures only with a measure that a market with a marked with a known mark, such as certification of accuracy, so that they would have some kind of stamp, right? Some kind of seal, not stamp, seal, some kind of seal, like an official seal that that it was checked, and that's what they have today even, right? They have a seal. I'm not sure if it's from the city. I'm not sure, like consumer affairs. I'm not sure from where, but I saw I was in the store. Some like not too long ago they got a new scales. They a little upgraded, Baruch HaShem, and they have the seal like sticking out. Very interesting. And this flood measure is not so marked. It is permissible to retain. So if it's like the custom of the city to have all of the measures certified, right? So then there is no problem. So everybody would know. So this measure without certification, I mean that's not a good measure. Okay. Any questions on what we said? Continue.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, please.
There's a question the board. It says, Shalom Kodolah. For product like chips, even if the weight is shown on the package, many times the manufacturers would use large package filled with air to indicate it has more content, which in fact it doesn't. Would this count as cheating according to Torah? If someone is selling chips, should he follow the common practice and fill the package with air? So
it it is it's called Gneva Das. So they steal this the theft of the mind, right? Because I see and I know exactly what you're talking about, right? So it we have this pack of chips. I don't know, it's 1 ounce, I don't know whatever, but it looks like three times bigger, right? Of course, they charge very good money for that. Meaning the rest is filled with air, and so the question is this air necessary for preservation, because they can still stay fresh, I don't know, for a few years, I think, the way I understand. So if it's needed, it's one thing, but if it's for marketing, so it would be look bigger, that's the problem. That's a problem. And another problem is the toys, right? You go to the store and the toys has such a huge packaging, and you have to unpack, and they have to rip, and that's there's a marketing. People like to unpack things. Yeah, you understand? And sometimes, what did they buy? I don't know, I had to buy some small tiny thing. They sound me not me, but the package is huge. Maybe they would not steal with if it would be too tiny to put it in a pocket, but they feel better to give you some more packaging for your money, I guess. You understand? So is it never does if they did it only for to make the volume bigger, it's a problem for sure, right? If it's needed, the volume needed for preservation, there is no problem, right? So it depends. A good question. Any other? Go ahead. Any other questions? That's it.
Yeah, I was wondering what would be like the most, I don't know, faithful way of calculating the price of a service that we provide to someone. Yeah, what would be like the proper way to do it?
Yeah, usually we go by the industry standard. So you can you can base your price on that, and then calculate. So they whatever your competitors do this and that. Okay, and they charge $30. Let's say I'm just making up now, right? So they did $30, but you want to add services, and you want you want to extend warranty, right? They give you warranty 3.5 minutes, right? To other competitors, and you said I guarantee my work. I give you 90 days, right? So you're allowed to charge extra, right? Like insurance, right? Or you're going to give some extra services. So you're allowed to charge extra, but it's based on the average, whatever average industry, or it's average, right? But you provide with better quality. Let's say you sell something, right? For example, even if you sell plastic, there is a plastic, right? There is some plastic, like a metal or something, right? Or some aluminum, like so strong, it's unbelievable, right? So it depends on the material and many things, but we base start with something base price is whatever industry charges, and when for example, if they charge 30, but you say and they offer three services in one, and you say maybe the third one is not necessary, let me give discount, I give 20% discount, let's say, and I'm going to only, out of 3 services, I'm going to do only 2. Okay, so you're allowed to do that. Understand? So but person must be aware exactly what you're charging him for. Understand? So then there is no problem. Okay. And it's again, as we said, yeah, you're welcome. So it's local custom. Whatever local custom, that's what we said, industry standard in your area. How much they charge in your area. Okay.
So if the costume of if the local costume is, so to speak, a costume to take advantage of the competitive market and always bring the prices down. I mean, there's a lot of people, for example, in my field, that kind of give the very same service that I offer, but in a very, 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 very low plot price because, I don't know, they're in need or whatever. And this kind of takes all the price of the market down. And all the employers, what the employers do is to take advantage of this, and basically they make you feel like you're selling garbage. They make you feel like they're doing you a favor by paying you like 2 cents for what you do. And I don't think that's fair. I mean, this is unfortunately the local custom. So I don't know. Should I stand for a price for what I think is this?
Yes, yeah. So you can sell it. So if you want to go with them, they're going to after you get disappointed, come to me. My price is going to be the same, but I offer you quality. Right? Like many years ago. I don't know, many years ago. So we were shopping for a car, and we saw Mazda, right? Nothing special, right? In the same class was Toyota. So Toyota was, I don't know, maybe 25% more. So which is a lot of money for a new car. So and we were negotiating the price, and I said, but this and that. So we like Toyota more, of course. I mean, you cannot compare to Mazda. But this guy, the dealer, he said the phrase that I always remember. Of course, he was trained to say that, and but he said, look, I'm selling you Toyota quality. Forget about money. I'm selling you Toyota quality. You understand? So, and of course, I mean, this car lasted for almost 20 years. You understand? And if a little more invested, it would run for another, I don't know, 10 years or so. But the point is, so you tell these people, so you want to go with others, go with others. But if they disappoint you, I'm going to provide you highest quality, right? In this market, I'm going to charge you like 3 times more. She said, no, but you have to tell me that you're going to charge what I just told. No, I'm not going to charge that. I'm going to charge you whatever they say. I'm going to charge you 3 times more. And it's called like reverse psychology. You understand? And many times, I mean, even it's very simple. Everybody knows reverse psychology. I think everybody knows, but it works more often than you think, right? So when you get disappointed, come to me. I'm not going to charge you any extra. I'm going to charge you only 3 times more, whatever from this guy. So my price is going to stay the same, and my integrity stays the same. But today you want to give, okay. They're going to pay you, not going to, like, they're going to deliver, not going to deliver. Look, right? That's it. That's what we do.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Yes, yeah. So reverse psychology. Remember, like, just be prepared. Prepare what you're going to say. Okay. And plus, they need 3 customers. Right, to make this money, you would need only 1 customer. So it means that you would need to work 3 times less. Right? So, and while they overloaded, so right, so good customers are going to come to you. And when a person is overloaded, he or she tend to make mistakes. Guess what? We're all humans. And when a person is charged a little more, but he said, why I'm charged a little more or a lot more? So people like to pay more, right? For quality, like the example that they gave some time ago about this iPhone, right? Like, why would any normal person buy iPhone, right? And not normal, like especially people who are not rich. They can buy different phones like $50, $100, $200, like unbelievable phone, right? But they buy iPhones because they go by quality. So, and that's what we should sell them, quality. And of course, you have to say by word and deliver on time, do a packaging, better packaging, like sell them postcard or something. So that's actually what amazed me. There is some cultural people in here where I live, and when you invite them to to a house, right? So after that, they would send you a postcard. They post like small postcard. Thank you very much. I have had a wonderful time and thank you. And then this is it's simply unbelievable. What would the cost him? Zero. I don't know, not zero, but not much. This postcard, the stamp, and stuff. But you feel good. You wanted to invite them again, because of what? Because of this postcard. So that's what proper approach, right? Let them work, and we're going to collect money. Okay. Any other questions before we continue?
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
There's another question on the board. Question: weights on scales. Weights on scales were known to chip and lose mass over time for usage. What exact amount would constitute a false measure, since most were slightly off the original unit of measurement?
Yes, that's amazing question. So how much? So of course you have a weight, and it's made of iron, right? And you put it on metal scales. You sell nuts or whatever, tomatoes, many times a day. So of course that you're going to rub off. There is no question about it. How much? Not much, right? So what is acceptable? If people do not mind. So if people do not mind, so for example, I don't know, maybe 1% they do not mind, maybe 2% they do not mind of the weight. So nobody's going to come back to you like if you give them 10% less, they would come and they would complain. 1%, 2%, 3%, they would not care. In a sense, that's normal. Okay. Okay. What else?
Take care of it.
Okay. Okay. Let's continue then. Continue. Number 13. If one person is endeavoring to purchase or rent an item, regardless of whether the land or mobile object, and regardless of whether it is from idolater or a Jew, and they have already agreed on a price, but before they completed the transaction, another person came and purchased it or rented it, the second person is called Rasha, a wicked person. However, if they have not yet agreed on a price, rather they are in the midst of negotiations, the seller wants such a sum, and the buyer wants to buy item for less, then it is permitted for another person to buy it. It is also prohibited to encroach upon the boundary of the one's fellow. In regard to the renting houses or the like from idolaters. Okay, so as you see, there are several subjects here. So let's start from the beginning, and we're going to explain. Very, very interesting halacha. I always think, does it say here? 1 second, quickly check, quickly scan. I don't see it. So there is a special curse that it's my list of the videos to do. Special curse that our sages, a cursed person who promised and did not deliver. They only shake hands. They agreed on the price. That's a Jewish businessman. Part 4. I think I'm not sure how many parts we released about Jewish businessmen on our channel. I made 3 parts. But like on this subject, but from different book. Okay, so part number 4 is about this meshapera. Okay, so let's see from the beginning. If one person is endeavoring to purchase or rent an item, regardless whether it's land or movable objects, so and the laws are like somewhat different. right? Between the landed objects, and landed objects also included slaves, right? In olden days we have slaves, right? And movable object, everything that you can move. So these slaves were like more like a land object. Okay. So a movable object, and regards whether from a Jew and idolater. So they have the negotiations, and they have already agreed on a price. So they have a price. Of course, I mean, today you have a cash, you will have a credit card, and everything, right? But in olden days, they did not carry the cash. For example, if he wants to buy something big like a donkey or so, a cow. So a cow costs a lot of money. So nobody carries. I mean, unless person is very, very rich, nobody carries the amount of money like for the price of the cow. So he probably have this gold coin, silver coin, hidden somewhere, buried something under the ground, under, I don't know, between the bricks in his house, like somewhere, right? So he would go home, right? Maybe it's going to take him time, maybe this, maybe that, right? So from the time they agreed on a price, on a purchase, some time can pass. There is like normal. It's not like somebody procrastinated. It's normal, right? But before they completed the transaction, another person came and purchased or rented it. So another person came and said, "So how much is it?" And the first guy, of course, and it's he would say it's 50. Let's say he had already agreed on 50 with the first guy, and right, and to second guy he said, "Oh, 50, oh, that's a good price. I want to buy it." So and this seller would keep quiet. This Rasha would keep quiet. That I already have a seller. He think how what the difference does it make, right? I have I want 50. And this guy offered me now. This guy, this other guy, he said, I have only 30, and I have to go to my brother-in-law, this-in-law, that-in-law, and I have to get a loan, a mortgage for another 20, and I'm going to pay maybe next Thursday, stuff like that. And here, but he said, I'm going to don't sell to anybody. I'm going to get you money. And this guy comes and offer 50. So in the mind of most of the people, why would you think twice, right? But not according to the halacha, right? And the second, right? So the second person is called Rasha, wicked person. Come to Sma 237, right? That a public announcement is made in a synagogue that he committed act of wickedness, right? Continue. However, if they have not yet, so meaning who is the wicked? The seller. Does not say, but we're talking about seller. Seller is a wicked person. If we announce him to the whole world, meaning why? What? That he's a wicked person. Okay. So people were especially when we used to live in small communities, it was a disaster. If they sell in a synagogue, especially on Shabbos, they always did on Shabbos because everybody is in a synagogue. They say, this guy is the wicked. Wow. So nobody wants to deal with him. So he got this 50 on a term that he preferred to, but nobody's going to deal with him. That's the problem. However, if they have not yet agreed on a price, rather they are in the midst of negotiations, the seller wants such and such sum, and the buyer wants to buy for less, then it is permitted for another person to buy it. Okay. So meaning buyer wants, let's say, go back to our example, he wants 50. The seller offers 45, right? And they did not agree. And then somebody comes and say, look, I want to give you 47. You want it? Say, okay, I'm going to get 47 because this guy, okay, so we agree. Okay, so it's very, very important before we continue with a commentary of just a life example. like if you check the prices and you know what is a good price and you see that is good price for sure, don't negotiate. Just pay up. That's it. I never forget. Somebody asked me, long time, many years, 30 years ago. I don't know, many years, not 30, maybe 26 years ago, about a price on apartment. And I knew that it was a good price, very good price. I mean, maybe you can get cheaper, but I said in that neighborhood, that apartment, buy it. And person, no, you like this. We have to negotiate. Maybe they go. I said, look, it's a good price. I think it's a good price. Just buy it. And person did not buy for a next, I don't know, maybe 15 years. Did not buy because prices went up, and he was still living in a dream that he would get the price from 15 years ago. Understand? So if you see the right price, don't negotiate. Right? If it's like average, it's a little too much. Yeah, you can negotiate if you want to. There is no problem negotiate. If you don't insult the person, if you don't make up things, if you're honest, there is no problem. 17. According to some authorities, even when they did not yet agree on a price, if negotiations are in the final stage, and it is clear that the absence of any outside influence, the parties will shortly come to the agreement. Another person may not interfere with completing the offer. Right? So meaning they agree. He wants 50. Right? The guy offered 45. He said, okay, give me so for 47. Said no, 46. Okay, so let's say if you let's say, right, so for 46, 47, like they're very, very close, they would agree, plus minus 46 and a half or 46 and 0.7, like something, they would agree. So in this case, even though they don't have a specific price, so not allowed to break this deal. Okay, continue. It is also forbidden to encroach upon the boundaries of one's fellow Jew. I mean, it's a different topic, but it's still a different topic, but in the same halacha. So let's see, commentary. In a literal sense, the prohibition of hasagas givul, encroaching on the boundary of one's fellow Jew, refers to one who actually moves the marker, defining the boundary between the fields, his field and the neighbor field. It's from Dvarim 1914. So like clearly you have a field and you're not allowed to move this marker. So marker is it's not I don't know, so some like a tree or a bush or something. I mean, if you want to plant, yeah, there is no problem. Maybe it's a good idea, but usually like some sticks like stick in the ground. So sometimes people would move it a little further, especially in the olden days where they will measure with a rope, and it's also imprecise. So that's understandable. This term is also used to refer to prohibiting unlawfully competing with one who has established business in a profession, and is used here as a similar sense. So it's very interesting. So it's actually what we were talking about today. So one more time, this term is also used when referring to the prohibition of unlawfully competing. Unlawfully competing, so is driving down the prices. Unlawfully competing. I'm not sure, especially if they're not Jews. I mean, he wants to. He's ready to make to do the services, to provide the services. Maybe not as like good quality, but provide service for this money. Okay. So so I think that it means something else, not only prices. Okay. Continue in regard to renting houses or the likes from idolaters. So commentary: there is, if one Jew rented a house from an idolater, another Jew may not disregard the first Jew position as a prior tenant and rent it for idolaters at the end of the term, at the end of the term of the rental of the first Jew wishes to remain the tenant. That's that's a disaster. So somebody like somebody a Jew rented the house. Let's say they signed the lease for a year, and another Jew also wanted that house, and he said comes to the landlord and said, "Do not extend the lease. I'm going to rent it from you." So this is what they're talking about. It's absolutely forbidden. So even if the first Jew wants to stay, so he must have this first priority. Of course, if it's a Jew with a Jew, that's very simple. So we can enforce it. But if it's a non-Jew who is a landlord, that's a big problem. So this Jew, the second Jew, have no right to do that. Okay, see Hassam Sofer, Hoshen Hamishpat 104, Pischet Yeshua, Hoshen Hamishpat 231:4. And other commentaries. Okay, so is that any questions on what we said? No.
Rabbi?
Yes, go ahead, please.
So in this Safe 13, where it says that if the seller kind of sells this thing to someone else after he agreed the price with the initial buyer, what happens in the case of the buyer? Say the buyer already agreed something with the seller, but all of a sudden he sees the same thing or the same product being sold at a cheaper price. He kind of regrets the whole thing. What happens to him? Does this apply to him as well?
The problem is it's actually that's a story from Chofetz Chaim. So he gives this scenario and goes step by step how it's all developed. I don't remember where was it, but let me just give you the idea. So it started like this. They did not finish the negotiation. They finished negotiating, and just continue the example that I gave, right? And this guy, the original buyer would come like on Thursday, as we agreed. I said Thursday 12:30, right? You're going to be ready? Yeah, 12:30, perfect. So he comes 12:30. He borrowed money. He had 30 for this cow, and 20 he borrowed from another 10 people. You understand? So he came with the whole amount, and now he thought that he's going to get the cow. But the guy said, "Oh, apologize. I should have let you know. I thought you did not come. You're not going to come, but I should have let you know. You know that this Yossi from you know Yossi? Yeah. This Yossi guy, he started like he came to me. He started like threatening me if I'm not going to sell him his cow. He's going to do this to me. And please, please have a mercy on me. I have like a little kid. This grandma. Okay, so I apologize. So now this guy, the first guy, is going to think about Yossi like he's a gangster or something. But the case was. So this guy saw that he can get a little more money, or at least money right away, and he started this Lashon Hara. Yeah, you understand? And this Yossi heard I threatened him. He would come back to this seller, and it's going to be like an endless circle. You understand? So that's not good. So, but on the other hand, when person believes in HaShem and said that Parnasa is going to come from there. So he can always say to this buyer number 2, you know what, I apologize. I already have a seller. Maybe he's going to get, he does not have all the whole amount. Maybe he's going to get by next Thursday. Not if he is not, he's not going to get. I'm going to sell to you. I'm gladly going to sell it to you with like white glove delivery. You understand? So that would be the proper way. So we understand that you don't want to lose the customer, but you cannot like throw the first one in the garbage. What else? Got it? Okay.
No, sorry. I think I was asking in the case of the buyer. For example, the guy agreed a price with the seller for some product, and before the actual transaction, the buyer saw the same product but cheaper somewhere else. The buyer. So
and did they agree on a price or no?
yeah, they already agreed the price, everything.
So
He
he
wants to
can.
give.
Okay, I got it. So he can go to back to this seller and say, apologize. I saw it cheaper. I think it's exactly the same product. So maybe you will maybe you want to give me the discounts or something. So and if that and if it's reasonable, whatever that it was actually the market price. This guy tried to sell a little higher. If it's reasonable, yeah. So this um, if this seller is going to match the price, so buyer is obligated to buy from him, right? But in some cases they can cancel. So if it's 16% more, so it's 1 1 6 uh, between 16 17% plus minus, right? So yeah, so he can actually like cancel the deal. Okay.
Okay, Rabbi.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think you can stop here.